Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will understand how to write an appreciation of a poem. This question comes in the SSC board exam English question paper for 5 marks. And the format of the question is this. Read the following poem and write an appreciation of it with the help of the given points in a paragraph format. And the points are given to you along with the marking scheme. So first the poem is given to you along with the title of the poem and the name of the poet, and below the poem these points are mentioned. Friends, you are expected to write the appreciation of the poem based on these points only. So first let us have a look at the points. First, you're expected to write the title of the poem and the name of the poet. Maximum 1 mark. Next, you're supposed to mention the rhyme scheme of the poem. If the poem does not have a rhyme scheme, you have to mention that it is a free verse. Next, you're supposed to give 2 figures of speech. For that, you will get maximum 1 mark. And finally, you are supposed to give the central idea or the theme of the poem. That will fetch you maximum 2 marks. Friends, have a look at the question properly. You are expected to write the appreciation in a paragraph format. Remember, if you don't write the appreciation in a paragraph format, then you are bound to lose marks. So, when we are writing an appreciation, we have to break our appreciation into 2 paragraphs. Our first paragraph should contain the first 3 points, that is the title and the poet of the poem, the rhyme scheme of the poem, and the figures of speech. The second paragraph should include the central idea or the theme of the poem. Now, friends, here I have considered the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear, and accordingly I have prepared the appreciation of the poem based on these points. So let's begin now. Appreciation of the poem. So this is how I am writing the title. The poem Where the Mind is Without Fear is written by the famous Indian poet Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. My first sentence covers up the first point, that is the title of the poem and the name of the poet. The poem does not follow any rhyme scheme. It is a free verse. Here, the poem does not have a rhyme scheme, that's why I'm mentioning this. But if the poem has a rhyme scheme, then you have to mention the rhyme scheme. So here I have covered the second point. Next, the poet makes use of different figures of speech such as alliteration, metaphor, personification, etc. So here in this sentence, I have mentioned some of the main figures of speech which are present in the poem. It is not necessary to mention each and every figure of speech that is present in the poem, but you can at least mention the name of 2-3 figures of speech which are present, the main ones. And then friends, you are supposed to pick up one example, that is one line of the poem, and then you are supposed to mention the names of the figures of speech, and you have to give the explanation of the figures of speech present in that particular line. So what I have done, see, I have mentioned one example. I have taken up one line from the poem, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. So this is how on the next line I have to write the line of the poem. Here the figure of speech is personification, because striving an action is given the human quality of stretching its arms towards perfection. I am mentioning the first figure of speech and giving the explanation of it. Now, this line has another figure of speech. So I'm mentioning the name of the second figure of speech and giving the explanation also. It is also alliteration because sound of the letters str are repeated pleasingly for better poetic effect in the words striving and stretches. So friends, here my third point gets completed. That is figures of speech. Now, friends, I suggest instead of giving one example, give two examples. And therefore, I have written another example over here. Why? Because just in case if we happen to make a mistake in the first example, then the second example will take care and we are on the safer side. So look at my second example. Another example, into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Here the figure of speech is metaphor, since dead habit is indirectly compared to dreary desert sand. It is also an example of alliteration because sound of the letter D is repeated in dreary, desert and dead for bed. So friends, my first paragraph comes to an end. I have covered up all the three important first points. Okay. Now, before we go to the next paragraph, friends, I would like to bring your attention towards these points which I have underlined. Remember, I have underlined only the main points, the name of the poem and the poet, whether it is a free verse or the rhyme scheme, and the example and the name of the figures of speech. Why? Because friends, this helps us to attract the attention of the paper checker, and this gives a very good impression in the mind of the examiner, the paper checker. Now we begin with the second paragraph. The poem is a prayer to God. The poet appeals to God for social, educational and economic freedom for the people of India, besides political freedom from British. He prays to God to lead the minds of the people and to widen the thoughts and actions of the people. Gurudev Ji wants his nation to be the heaven of freedom. But this is how you're supposed to write the central idea or the theme of the poem in the second paragraph. And you are expected to write approximately 3 to 4 sentences. Okay, in the second paragraph. So friends, this is how you are expected to write the appreciation of the poem. Now friends, I would like to give you certain tips that will help you to score full marks. Your Kumar Bharati English textbook has 8 poems. And for this March 2022 examination, you are having 6 poems due to reduced syllabus. So whether it is 6 poems or 8 poems, firstly, you should prepare the appreciations of the poems in advance. As soon as the teacher explains the poem and the poem is well understood, do this. Why? Firstly, you will be thorough with the appreciations if you prepare the appreciations beforehand. You will be able to write very good appreciations. And therefore, friends, there will be no uncertainty. You will be very certain about what points you should include and the language and the vocabulary, the appropriate vocabulary. Thirdly, this will build up confidence within you before the examination and during the examination when you are in the examination hall. So when you're writing the appreciation, you will be writing it very confidently. And obviously, that will save your time. And most important of all, if you're preparing the appreciations beforehand, you can prepare them, show them to your teacher. If your teacher points out towards the mistakes, you can rectify those mistakes. In this way, you will be able to write a perfect appreciation. And that will definitely enable you to score full marks. Therefore, friends, I strongly recommend you to prepare the appreciations of all the poems, whether it is 6 poems for this academic year or the usual 8 poems. Prepare those appreciations as soon as possible in order to score full marks. Wish you all the best, my dear students. I hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching this video. Do like, share and subscribe. Bye.